With a new design, a 6.9-inch 120Hz Quad HD Plus display, a custom Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset and plenty of new features, the Galaxy S25 Ultra certainly offers a lot of specs on paper, so is it worth it? Let's take a look. So here we have the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. This isn't going to be a comparison video compared to the predecessor, because there isn't too much that's changed hardware-wise, and I think it's a lot less relevant now as people aren't upgrading their phones yearly. So the people looking to buy the S25 Ultra probably don't have an S24 Ultra, and if you do, there's probably not enough here to make you feel you need to upgrade, but there is plenty for people looking for a great new phone, so let's get into it. So from first time picking up the phone, I actually really like the new design. I wasn't keen on it when we first saw the leaks, but seeing it in person, it not only looks great, but it's also very comfortable to hold one-handed, and we've got some UI tweaks in places like the camera app that also make it much better for one-handed use. It's just everything's much easier now. Now the display is incredible as you'd expect. With a 6.9-inch 120Hz Quad HD Plus display, it's got a resolution of 1440 by 3120 and a peak brightness of 2600 nits, and it's just a pleasure to use in all conditions. Now the OS is also nice and smooth to go with it, and the anti-glare coating is far superior than any other phone I've used, and this just makes it great for any condition, even out in bright sunlight. Now over on the rear, you can see I've got the titanium silver blue version, and I love the colour and the shine to it, but for those of you concerned with fingerprints, it's very obvious on this rear panel, and even on the unboxing, you can see as soon as I pick it up, there's fingerprints all over it straight away. Now we've got a new design for the camera rings, which I personally like, and it's a 200 megapixel primary camera. We've got an upgraded 50 megapixel ultra wide, we've got a 50 megapixel periscope with 5x zoom, and then a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3x zoom, but we'll cover more on the camera samples shortly. Now we've also got IP68 resistance, we've got a new Gorilla Glass Armor 2 protection for the display, and it looks like a nice, well-built sturdy design. But for those of you that want to protect your phone even further, we've got today's video sponsor, Supcase. For all-out protection, we've got the UB Pro cases, and they've got raised bezels and a very durable construction with a shock-absorbing TPU build covering the front and the back of the phone, allowing it to be drop protected up to 20 feet. And it also comes with two frames. There's one with a built-in screen protector and then one without, that gives you the option whether you want to use the screen protector or not. And it also comes with a belt clip holster that not only allows you to wear your phone on your belt, but it also provides extra protection for your device. We've also got the UB Max XT, which provides raised bezels and plenty of protection, including 15-foot drop protection, as well as a camera cover that doubles as a kickstand and MagSafe compatibility for all of your chargers. And then finally, we've got the UB Grip that offers the same level of protection, but with increased grip and a MagSafe kickstand ring to hold your phone at any angle you want. Finally, all these cases are compatible with the S Pen, so you can still use your S Pen no matter which case you choose, so whatever your preference, there's a case for you. So go ahead and check them out now by clicking the link down in the description below. Now powering the phone is a custom version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite, and this provides incredible performance as you would expect. So whether you want some productivity tasks like editing on the go, or enjoy some mobile gaming, it's going to handle anything you can throw at it. Now I'm not much of a mobile gamer myself, but I've been playing games like Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG and Asphalt, and to be fair, it's just a great gaming device. You can play all of your games in high graphics settings with the high refresh rates, and it's a really comfortable size for your gaming. It also looks great on the display, and we've also got some good sounding speakers to go with it if you're not going to be using headphones. But for those of you concerned with synthetic benchmarks, over on Geekbench 6, you've got a single core score of 3,139, then a multi-core score of 10,075 for the CPU benchmark. I then ran it through the GPU benchmark where it scores 20,027. And then over on 3D Mark's Wildlife Extreme benchmark, we get a score of 6,997 with an average FPS of 42. Now software has been a big focus with the recent Galaxies, and the S25 Ultra is no different. It comes with One UI 7 based on Android 15, and AI is of course playing a huge part, but the trouble for me is some features I find really useful, but then a lot, for me at least, I just find a little bit gimmicky or only useful in very niche circumstances. Now on the useful side, we've got things like the Magic Eraser, which continues to improve, and now it's got to the point where I know I can pretty much erase anything without worry. If there's a car in the way, I can select the car and then even select the headlight reflections on the road, and it erases them perfectly. Or if I want to push it to the max and remove this whole building, which is pretty much the main subject of the photo, it can remove it, and it uses generative AI to fill in the gaps. Now you've also got all of the AI writing tools that can help neaten up, summarize, style, or just complete some text that you've forgotten. And something I do like is the Composer. Now, if you're not great with words or you're just not sure what to say in a certain circumstance, you just hit the AI icon on your keyboard, head into Composer, and for instance, let's pretend my friend Dave has lost his job. I'll ask it to write me a condolence message, and I can choose the type of message and pick the style. So I'm going to pick casual, and you can see here it's given me a good message, and I can either just send this as is or maybe edit it to personalize it, but I can see this being very useful when you're not sure what to say. Now we've also got translating of calls and live translations, which I can see coming in handy on rare occasions. We've got note and transcript assist to easily take notes, neaten them up, and summarize them. And something I find myself using a lot is the website summary. If I'm in a rush and there's a huge long review of something that I need to read quickly, I just quickly summarize it up and it saves me so much time. Now the audio eraser is also great, and it's nice to have that extra peace of mind that if you have filmed something and there's just loads of noise, you can easily remove it on your phone. And then of course we've got Gemini for all of the useful things that can do. And when it comes to other AI features like the drawing, the briefs, etc., they're also cool, but to me they're just a little bit gimmicky and I don't see myself ever actually using them. Now the brief I just find unnecessary for my personal needs. Maybe if you've got a really busy schedule, then this could be useful, but to me it just seems to give me a way of looking at my calendar as well as a weather update. Now hopefully this can expand in the future, but right now it's just not for me. And also, for those of you concerned with privacy, you can also enable this box here, and it will process all of the AI on the device and prevent collection of data for the AI features, but online processing is going to give you much better results. Now, my biggest problem with Galaxy AI is that we know it's only going to be free until the end of 2025, but then Samsung are going to start charging for features. They've given no details on what's going to be free and what isn't, or on how much you're going to have to pay and what the monthly subscription is going to be. So if you're buying a phone for AI features, this could be a risk. Now, another thing that has annoyed people is Bluetooth being removed from the S Pen, but personally it's just not going to affect me. I never use it for my photos to do a remote shutter, and in fact you can just ask the phone to take a selfie with the Hey Google command. And when you remove the S Pen, you get buttons for the Air Command shortcuts, and I can only assume that Samsung removed the Bluetooth because data showed that people weren't using it. Now camera-wise, we've got the same camera system as last year, but the ultra-wide has now been upgraded to a 50 megapixel, and to be fair, it's now just a well-rounded camera system. I can happily swap between the lenses and choose the right lens for the job rather than worrying about which camera is the better one. And you can see it doesn't matter if we're shooting from wide, ultra-wide, or the telephotos, everything just looks great. We've got nice color with great detail and good dynamic range. We've got plenty of details in the highlights and the shadows. Zoom shots are also good, and it seems it doesn't matter whether I go 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, or 10 times, the photos are just fantastic. Now we've also got the ability to go 100 times zoom, but personally I've just been avoiding anything over 10. You can see this shot with the 30x and it doesn't look great, and then this shot with the 100x just looks awful, so it's just not something you're going to want to do unless you have to. Now another great move is that the camera app itself can now be used a lot more easily one-handed. We've got the button to the right to access all of the settings. We can also easily switch between the zoom choices, and when you go onto 10 times zoom, it then gives you an extra option for 30 times or 100 times.
So this is the video from the front-facing camera at 4K 60. Unfortunately here in England it's miserable. We've got loads of rain, loads of wind coming at me, so we'll see how that comes out. But do a slow pan around. Now I'll do some jogging so we can see what the stabilisation is like. Again, there's very strong wind, so I think that's going to be coming out on the video. But that's the video you're going to get from the selfie camera.
So the selfie camera is great quality, and we've also got great stabilization. It's just a shame it was such terrible weather when I was recording, and the wind noises were very apparent, but of course that's where the audio eraser comes in, and we can just completely get rid of that.
Loads of wind coming at me, so we'll see how that comes out, but do a slow pan around. Now I'll do some jogging so we can see what the stabilization is like. This is the video from the rear facing camera, the primary camera at 1 times. Again, 4K 60 frames a second. Just do a slow pan around. Looks really good on focus in the viewfinder. Quick pan back. Again, we'll just do a jog into the wind. And that's the primary camera.
So as expected, we've got great video from the primary camera, although there is some slight judder from my footsteps. but when running, the stabilization holds up well. So this is the video from the new ultra wide again. We're at 4K, 60 frames a second. Again, lots of rain and wind. If we just do slow pan, focus looks great. Quick pan back, and again we'll do a jog forward. And that's the ultra wide. Now, same story on the ultra wide. We get some great video with incredible stabilization, although again there is still a little bit of judder from my footsteps, and a huge apologies for my finger covering the lens partially. I really don't know how that happened. Now, the S25 Ultra comes with 12GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage, and it comes with a 5000 mAh battery with 45W wired charging, 15W wireless, and then 4.5W reverse wireless. And I have to say, it's getting a little bit disappointing how safe Samsung are playing it with their batteries, while other companies are pushing the boundaries with new battery technology, and they're offering larger capacities with over 100W of fast charging. Now, that being said, the battery easily lasts me the day, and I'm always around a charger, so it's not really a concern for me, but it may be something to consider if you're out and about all the time and away from a charger and you are needing to use your phone heavily. And when it comes to using it for browsing the web, checking emails, or checking social, it's just a pleasure as you'd expect, and then watching media is great on this beautiful display. Now, the speakers are good, they don't go overly loud, but they also sound nice and balanced, and they're not too high on the treble, but like most smartphones out there, they do lack a bit of bass.
Certain rules you have to follow.
We all serve in Lord Tech.
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
But I have to say, overall, it's a well-rounded phone, and I think one of the main reasons you'd be picking the S25 Ultra to begin with is that you're a fan of Samsung devices and One UI. And now the software is so well optimized and smooth, it's just a pleasure to use, and everything is familiar for Samsung fans. Now, they promised 7 years of software updates, which does include 7 generations of One UI and not just security updates, so you know your phone is going to be well future-proofed. But realistically, we've come to a little bit of a stalemate at the moment in terms of smartphone innovation, and we always get some improvements to the chip, cameras, and the display, and that's pretty much all we see. Now, the S25 Ultra does deliver that though, and the only drawback to me is the battery technology is falling a little bit behind. Now, it's a great phone though, and for anyone looking to purchase a new phone, it's going to be a great choice that you're definitely going to be happy with. Again, there's not really enough here to make people want or need to upgrade from the S24, but if you're a few years behind, or maybe you're trying out your first Samsung Galaxy phone, then it's a great one to start. Now, for those of you looking for the best value phone, it's probably not going to be on the top of that list, as there's now so much competition offering a Snapdragon 8 Elite and other impressive specs at a much more budget-friendly price point. But as I said, when it comes to the S25, it's more about the whole package, and you're going for a Samsung phone. Now, hopefully I've covered everything in today's video, and of course I've placed a link down in the description below for those of you that want to grab an offer on one, and I've also placed a link to today's video sponsor, Supcase. But if there's anything I've missed, or you've got any questions at all, then just ask them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech.